Hey everyone, I'm Scott Stokely, and I'm in beautiful Paw Paw, West Virginia, and it's a world famous disc golf course out here. If you live out east, you've definitely heard of it, but if you live out west, you might not have heard of it anywhere other than my autobiography, Scott Stokely, Growing Up Disc Golf, and I'm going to read a chapter of my book called The Drunken Hillbilly from Paw Paw. It's one of the greatest stories in all of disc golf. I love this story, and hopefully it'll encourage you to get a copy of my book. Go to scottstokely.net. You can order it directly through there, or you could also get the Kindle version. You can even listen to the Audible version read by me. Actually, I'm going to sit down. And by the way, the Audible version is going to be a little better than this version because I had a professional sound engineer remove breath noises and pauses, and so the Audible version came out really good. But I'll do my best here. So this chapter takes place in 1997. It's called The Drunken Hillbilly of Paw Paw. After the championships, we went to Paw Paw, West Virginia. There are several contenders, but this is one of the top stories in the history of disc golf. Spencer Thurman built a private disc golf course out there with the help of locals John and Linda Fowler. There were a few private courses like Laurel Springs, but this was still so unusual. We had heard about Paw Paw out west. It was a tough course too. You could shoot in the mid-60s to win a tournament, 20 strokes higher than most courses at that time. This tournament didn't have an ace pool. That would be stupid with only a few holes that could be reached. Instead, it had a deuce pool for the player with the most twos. To set the stage, from the nearest city, you had to drive 45 minutes deep into the Appalachian Mountains. Paw Paw was in the middle of nowhere. It only had two businesses, a gas station and a strip club. I won't say that this club was as good as the North Side in St. Thomas. Actually, yeah, it was just as good. At the club, we got to see something that, unless you've been to Paw Paw, you've probably never seen before. A 40-year-old overweight woman with 8 teeth got up on stage, did her dance, walked back to the bar, ordered a whiskey, lit a cigarette, and then breastfed her child. A lot of gnats out here. Funny as that was, that is not the story. At Paw Paw, like Laurel Springs, you camped on site. There weren't any hotels around, so you had to do this. When I got there, I met Rusty, this drunk hillbilly who was working at the course. Pretty good golfer, nice enough guy during the day, but he was one of the mountain people. This is another reason to go on tour, because there are whole cultures in our country you probably don't even believe exist. One of those is the mountain people. They live in the Appalachians of West Virginia, North Carolina, Eastern Kentucky, and Eastern Tennessee. I absolutely love the mountain people. They've been so good to me over the years. This is not a knock on them, but this is a culture that is very distinctive. There are roads that if you drive up them, you will be met by a 75-year-old woman with a homemade sheriff's badge and a shotgun who will point the gun at your car and tell you you ain't welcome in these parts. The police leave these people alone, and these people leave the rest of the modern world alone, and it works for everyone. Fortunately for all of us, some of them also play disc golf, and disc golf welcomes them. On Saturday night of the tournament, one of the traditions is they have a bonfire. And in case you're wondering, yes, this is the exact same bonfire that on the previous year, Jack Stanton tried to take a running leap and jump over it, but then fell face first into the fire and came out covered head to toe in cinders. There was a lot of smoldering flesh, second and third degree burns. People were putting them out with beer. One lesson here is, if you ever get drunk and try to jump over a bonfire, don't do it an hour from the nearest hospital. Rusty was drinking moonshine. Yes, the real deal. Then Rusty decided he was going to recite poetry. He went to get it and came back with a stack of paper an inch thick, all his original work. And he was wearing nothing but a pink Speedo. He backed up his pickup truck to the bonfire, set up a chair in the bed, and began reading. It was probably 2 in the morning at this point, But if anybody tried to leave or even go to bed, Rusty would hop off the truck, get in their face, and intimidate them into sitting back down and continuing listening to his poetry. There were a lot of people, and he wasn't letting anyone go until he finished. Eventually, he wrapped up and let everybody retire to their tents. Rusty went to his tent where he had another bottle of alcohol, but he discovered that somebody ate the worm from the bottle. Rusty lost his mind. He got in his pickup and started doing donuts in and around the campground, yelling and screaming and kicking up dirt, running over tents, or at least tent poles. Every single person in the campground, half of them naked or near it, jumped out of their tents and ran terrified in the woods to hide behind trees and watch for a distance as Rusty tore up the entire area. To understand how serious this was, for years when anybody tried to tell the story, and there were a lot of tellings, at this point the listener might laugh, and the storyteller's response would always be to shake their head and say, no. It wasn't funny. It wasn't funny at all. I won the event by 16 strokes. At the award ceremony on Sunday, Rusty stood up and told everybody, "I just want to apologize. I was acting the fool last night. And just to show how sorry I am," at this point he pulled out a $20 bill. "I'm going to donate this here $20 to the women's field. All right, we're all good now." That was Rusty. I told that story 100 times and never gave any serious thought about what happened to him. But nearly 20 years later, Rusty contacted me on Facebook. I didn't even recognize him until he explicitly identified himself as the drunken hillbilly at Paw Paw. Honestly, I was shocked that he was still alive. I mean, I figured the over-under was at most 6 months after the tournament. But he had been following all the work I was doing with the special needs community, and he reached out to let me know he was proud of me. I got more of his story. Years later, he met a woman who was over here from Africa on a work visa. Rusty couldn't live without her, so he quit drinking, flew to Africa to bring her back, married her, and now is the most doting father of 2 little boys that you've ever seen. I talk to him regularly, and I'm proud to call Rusty my friend. Okay, that's the chapter of the book. I just saw Rusty for the last time, or most recent time, literally like 4 days ago, and I'll put a picture in the comments of Rusty. 20-something years later, Rusty's still sober and still a hell of a dad and still my friend. So anyways, this is Paw Paw, West Virginia. This is just one of the many stories. This book chronicles my first 25 years in the sport, which is basically the first 25 years of disc golf. So it's a telling of the first 25 years of disc golf, but it's not a history book. It's told through my eyes. Again, go to scottstokely.net. You can order a copy, or you can get the downloadable version or the Kindle version, or audio version, Kindle version. But anyways, hope you all enjoy. Had a hell of a time writing it, and I think it's a good book.